Since 2003, this is the Sports Source, East Tennessee's #1 sports talk show.
Presented by Junk Be Gone, Phoenix Conversions.
With your host, John Pennington. The Sports Source starts now.
Good Sunday morning. This is going to be a wild one today. We appreciate you joining us as we talk about Tennessee at Alabama. The Vols showed clear improvement, but they lose 35-13. There were a couple of hot topics to discuss. I think we'll get into that today. Might as well not waste time. Let's start now. First segment of this program is brought to you by our friends at Phoenix Conversions. Whether you're wanting to soup up your personal truck or deck out a whole fleet of commercial vehicles, Phoenix Conversions has been the company to turn to since 1987. I was in high school then. That's how long they've been around. Visit their website or simply stop by and chat face to face. Nobody better. Phoenix Conversions. You see their website right there. Check it out today. Probably about 12:31. Be a good time to check that out. Phoenix Conversions. All right, let's welcome in panel number one today. We have right here Bob Hodge, Will Overstreet, Josh Ward, and Jimmy Himes down there. Thank you, gentlemen, all for being here. It was early this morning after a late night. Big topics, obviously. We're going to cover some of them with players, some of them with media. We might cover a couple of things twice. If you don't hear it in this first segment or the second segment, hold on. We can't squeeze it all in off the top. I promise you we're going to get to all the things you want to talk about, officiating, Maurer, Garantano, all of it. But let's start with the big picture. I think it's clear the October Vols are better than the September Vols. Yep. It's not showing up in the record column, partially because you've played two top 10 teams. But last night, do you give Tennessee full credit? That seems to be the majority of folks are saying, you could have won that game if it hadn't been stolen by the refs. Or do you say, you got to deduct some points because Tua wasn't in there? That might have had something to do with it. No question, step in the right direction. How big of a step in the right direction?
I'm going to go pretty big step. Yeah, you deduct some points because Tua's not there, but I mean, that's a better looking football team than what you were seeing earlier in the season. And I think it's better looking on both sides of the ball. Your offensive line has, for the most part, got better. Your defensive line, which I have thought was the worst part of your football team to this point, is playing better. If you tackle a little bit better, you might shut Alabama down on a couple of drives. But I'm gonna say it's a nice improvement.
I'm going to say it's an improvement just because of the fact we talked about this team had never put two games in a row. Mm-hmm. And so they played Mississippi State well. You saw some level steps of improvement in the areas that we didn't know were one-time blips. Like I said, defensive line had not played two games in a row where they looked like they had any effect. So being able to do that twice in a row, that's a big improvement. And the offensive line showed a lot better day. So overall, I think this team is taking the right steps. You see two games in a row. They haven't done that before.
As we go to Josh and Jimmy here, let's put up some stats from last night to see how this compared. You talk about the offensive line. Again, I'm going to be taking as negative Nelly, but 3.1 per carry, that's much better than what you saw last year. It's 1,000 times better, but Alabama on the year had been giving up 3.8 per carry on average against FBS teams. So I'm just trying to temper the excitement over a 35-13 loss. No. I think it was the right direction, but I'm not willing to say you're not a finished product. I think you're going in the right direction. Josh and Jimmy, your thoughts?
Yeah, that's why I would say clearly there's progress, and I continue, I think, on a weekly basis to come back to the effort and the fight that the players are showing. Yes. But I think that's also the buy-in to how the players go week to week through practice with the game plan, and I think a better understanding of what they're supposed to do. They're getting better there. Clearly, Tua going out helped Tennessee. That's a team that hadn't scored less than 42 points in a game this season. They really struggled to move the ball. They were out of sync. The Darrell Taylor play, that's a 40-yard gain probably for Alabama if Tua's delivering that pass instead of Mac Jones. But Tennessee itself is in a position where it can better take advantage of opportunities.
Yeah, I thought it was a step in the right direction for Tennessee. And I thought the run game, even though the average isn't great, it's better than I thought they would do against Alabama up front. I thought they did a lot of things well. Look, you're down by 8 points in the third quarter, and I didn't see that. On our picks segment on Friday, I think 4 of us picked Alabama to score at least 48 points. Only Sterling picked them to score fewer. Imagine that. But yeah, I thought it was a step forward. I liked a lot of things that they did. Tua being out certainly was a factor. If Brian Maurer had played with Tua out, maybe Tennessee finds a way to pull it out. But I liked the fight about what they did. I thought they moved the ball at times. They won the time of possession, which I thought was pretty good as well. And I thought it was interesting, too, that Jeremy Pruitt said after the game that Tennessee played better against Alabama than it did in beating Mississippi State the week before.
That was interesting. I'll credit Maurer, too. He only got a quarter in there, basically, but that was the best he's looked since that first half against Georgia. And that was the best he's looked. And he came in and didn't look like he was the least bit shy of all the lights that were on down there last night in Tuscaloosa, which was kind of impressive. By the way, I saw a lot of people saying that was stupid. If they did that at Neyland Stadium, people would still be over there watching.
Oh, yeah.
Once the starters went out, neither offense looked very good. I mean, once you saw bad quarterback play last week, Tennessee, Mississippi State. Once Tua left the field, you saw bad, and Maurer after that first quarter. You saw bad quarterback play last night for about 3/4 of that game, I thought. Let's talk about the huge play, and that is the Garantano sneak, not sneak fumble. We'll discuss reactions to that, Pruitt reactions to that later. But first of all, Pruitt post-game, okay, he went nuts on the sideline, but then post-game in the presser with the media, he said that Garantano should have stayed on the ground and not leapt. Said that it was a sneak. Then with Bob Kessling, he said there was no need to hurry right there. We've run sneaks in the past and we got them. No need to hurry. We had miscommunication because of that. He also was asked point blank by Bob Kessling, was that a sneak call? He said, well, actually, Bob, we didn't have a play call there. We were hurrying. We didn't get anything called right there. A couple of players said, well, we had one thing called in the huddle. They didn't say what, and then it changed. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at this picture. Well, you got Trey Smith clearly pulling. Austin Pope's in at fullback. Quavaris crouches as your tailback. Garantano keeps it and goes over the top. All right, there's about 18 things that could have happened. Smith could have made a mistake. Garantano could have gone rogue. Guys, what the heck? And if it's a question, if Pruitt's not just covering for Garantano, and he threw out there was a lot of stuff there. Just say he should have stayed on the ground. Why are you throwing we didn't have a play call there or anything? I mean, if he was trying to cover for him, he covered for him a lot of unnecessary cover.
Yeah. Right.
But if that's the case, timeout. That whole end segment, guys, what happened?
Yeah, that was and even Pruitt admitted he screwed that up by not calling a timeout because obviously there was miscommunication. Look, you don't pull a left guard on a quarterback sneak. Okay, so did Smith screw it up? I don't know. Brandon Kennedy said there was another play called, and then they got to the line, and I don't know what happened. So I actually think they were supposed to run something else, and I think Garantano ran the sneak. I don't know that 100%, but I'm gonna think that Trey Smith probably did what he thought he was supposed to do, which was to pull.
Pruitt's reaction was so over the top. I don't think that was just, well, you should have stayed low and not gone over.
Yeah, that's what it looked like to me. And also, you looked at the tackle in that position, and he's blocking down, leaving the outside guy for the kick out. So at least, and I looked also at the center and the other guard, and I said, okay, were they trying to cut guys off, or were they actually thinking it was sneak? So at the very least, best case scenario, 2 of the guys thought it was a sneak, and the rest of the team thought it was some other play.
Right.
So it's hard to say what actually went on there because you just don't know by the way that looked. But regardless, bad time to have a big miscommunication by the team there.
Yeah, John, you gave the slogan for Tennessee football 2010s. What the heck? It's that play right there. That's it. And for the Facebook Live feed, it's something else. And that's what you come back to. That's why the Vol Network comments from Jeremy Pruitt had me even more confused.
Yes.
Last night with the postgame press conference. So I don't know. My guess is we're not getting a good answer at any point on that. But that kind of sums up what's been going on this year and beyond.
Well, they blew by it on the television show too, from what I'm told. This morning when the TV show ran, they didn't even really address it at the end of it. Bob, all right, a lot of people have just determined that was Garantano going rogue and they never want to see him again. What are your thoughts on
I would have thought that too, but you pointed out as we were talking on the phone this morning, I didn't realize who the tailback was in that set. I thought the way the play started out looked like it was going to be some kind of a pitch, try to get wide on him. But do you really pitch it to Quavaris Crouch? I mean, is that a guy that you would pitch it to? So to me, from the way that the offense was set up, Will nailed it. You can't tell what they were trying to do. Yeah. I mean, it could go any different direction. But I thought at first, Yes, Garantano went in there, thought he saw something. I want to do this myself.
Tried to Tom Brady it, who always
But
does
then
that on his own.
looking back on it now, I don't think you can tell what it was.
The announcers indicated they thought it was a different play call than the Garantano.
Well, eventually. But at first, Greasy's
Right.
saying, why is he
came
going
back
off
to
on
it, yeah.
Garantano? You didn't block that. It wasn't going to work anyway. Then he came back and said, somebody said in his ear, hey, look at this. And it came back, and that's when he came back and said that the left guard was pulling, so he might have gone rogue. Appropriate, since they were playing the red elephants.
Maybe,
Thank you.
There was
maybe
another
Trey Smith
thing-
went rogue.
Another thing caught my attention. Look at the fullback. Usually, if it's a sneak, a lot of times the fullback will come in behind and push the quarterback. He didn't do that. He
No.
went to the left, which make you think they were going to run left with Crouch behind Trey Smith.
That's what I'm saying.
Back
Like, at least
and to the
half,
left.
at least half
Back
the guys,
Yeah.
to the left.
at least half the guys, at least half the guys on the team thought it was going off tackle to the left,
Yes.
and then the other half, I don't know if they thought it was a sneak or what they thought.
And then there's also, well, no, if Garantano's the one that would have called the play in the huddle. So, it's not like, well, maybe they heard something differently. Yeah. It's not a good look. But the odd thing to me, if Pruitt just says, well, he should stay on the ground and not jumped, I'm saying he covered for him. That whole, we didn't have a play call because we rushed it for some reason. He said that multiple times. That's what I don't understand. That's the one that really makes it a little bizarre. But I don't think you're ever going to get a true answer to that. I think that the fact that Trout was in on the next series tells you the answer for the football team. But we'll discuss that. If Mauer's out, okay, what's the future of this team? When we come back, there were some big flags in that game. I don't know if you noticed or not. We'll discuss officiating and specifically the Darrell Taylor play, which to me was the turning point of the game. So we'll discuss that next. Come on back on the Sports Source.
Not always what you want to hear, but exactly what you need to hear. This is the Sports Source.